Hey everybody, Brendan here. And in today's video, I want to share with you sort of just an opinion that I have that I was discussing with one of my clients the other day. And I was just saying that today's food is basically like yesterday's cigarette companies. So here's something that I want you to consider. Our health is basically directly connected to the foods that are on the end of our fork, right? Our health, your health, everything. And this has been a well-known fact and truth for a long time, and it's been passed down from generation to generation and generation. And some acknowledge it, and others deny it. So I'll be honest here. There was a time when I used to blame and easily blame individuals for their own weight gain. And a lot of people do, but we really need to look a lot closer now and ask ourselves a little bit more critical questions. Individuals who are challenged with weight, do they really understand what they're consuming? Like, do they really know the ramifications? I think there's an intuitive part, but do they really know? And I don't think so. So here's the thing. Up until the late 80s, smoking companies were literally peddling their dishonesty about tobacco to all the consumers who smoked. And they were saying that it's safe, it's effective, doctors recommend it. Sound familiar? And literally denying all of the harmful effects. They knew full well that smoking was so bad, and they were so downplaying that nicotine was addictive and all that stuff. They literally invested billions and billions of dollars in propaganda, paying off politicians, winning legal battles, literally putting everything under the table. So think about it. Today, we literally laugh at how insane and how bad all of those companies, what they were doing for so long, right? The smoking companies. We knew how addictive they were and how cancer causing they were. My dad, for example, he died from a rare cancer in his colon, and the doctor said it had nothing to do with a lifetime of smoking. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. So what is that saying? What's that saying? The saying, the freshman 15 or a donut on your lips equals pounds on your hips, something like that. Okay, so let's talk about low fat. Let's talk about plant-based burgers. Let's talk about Walden's Farms 0-calorie foods and sauces, for example. What if these foods were just as dangerous as the foods filled with sugar? Like, we've been told flat out the opposite, unintentionally, but they're addictive. The power of sugar, the power of MSG and artificial sweeteners, all of these natural flavorings, which are not natural at all, they're used strategically to enhance the taste of foods. So the impact on these foods that they have on our brain from all of these enhanced flavors literally rivals the addictiveness of cocaine and meth. Seriously. The artificial foods that come from the drive-thrus, the boxes, the tiny little cartons, the shiny wrapping papers literally reshape and completely change our body's ability to regulate cravings. And those in turn cause dramatically high fluctuations in blood sugar, in moods. They trigger the need for constant feelings of needing more, need more, craving. And little do you know that you're becoming majorly addicted and you're being controlled subconsciously, being completely overrun by your gut and your brain because of these chemicals, and then what they do to the gut, what they do to the brain, what they do to the ecosystem within your whole body, literally created by all of these big companies, just like those bastards from the cigarette companies. It's all by design. So beyond the basic needs for whole food and like nutrient dense food, the quality of what you eat is the key to your overall health, right? So let's look at metabolic syndrome. let's look at syndrome X. High blood sugar, high blood lipids, insulin resistance, excess adipose tissue around the abdomen, high blood pressure, elevated cortisol. All of those contribute to something called syndrome X, or metabolic syndrome. And it is a deadly contributor to heart disease, diabetes, stroke, and ultimately premature death. So this is where things get messy. In the prevalence of ultra-processed foods, the Western diet, it is linked to not only skyrocketing cancer rates, but also a huge surge in neurodegenerative cases, right? So Alzheimer's, dementia, even autism. And that leads me into what's worse. Children today suffer more than any other time before. Kids have more health issues. They're being diagnosed with depression and anxiety more than any other generation. And if you don't believe me, just look at the book Physical Degeneration by Weston Price. I know I'm kind of switching gears, talking about the oral microbiome and the prevalence of teeth. So evidence is everywhere showing an undeniable connection between modern ailments and contemporary dietary habits, as well as the complete deterioration of children's health. And as that happens, big agriculture, big pharma, they literally deny everything. And the pandemic was an exquisite spotlight on those who were completely vulnerable and those who were not, right? Those who were healthy, those that weren't. So remember when many celebrities and politicians completely downplayed the importance of health, and they only suggested you know what, which was the best line of defense. Some of them even died, and some of them got seriously sick because they got it, even with this. And then that somewhat changed their opinion, and they began to entertain the idea of, maybe being healthy is kind of important. Maybe eating whole foods and nutrient-dense foods is pretty important. Maybe exercise is important after all. But they still downplayed it. And there are millions of people right now who truly desire change, who truly desire to lose weight, who truly desire to change their journey. But it comes with so many challenges. They're strategically challenged because there's misleading information. There's packaging that says like calorie free and all this stuff. And there's so much contradictory advice out there, and what's truly beneficial and what isn't. And the government says that they're investing millions and millions of dollars to explore all different types of strategies to make us healthier. And yet we've got literally like 2 blocked arteries, right, in our body, but in the healthcare system, in all the hospitals and all that stuff. Like, it's just a complete shit show. So, and so talking about these misleading ideas from big corporate and big agriculture, health reports are literally being written by the very chains and companies that produce these poisoned and manipulated foods. It's literally like McDonald's doing their own study and claiming that Happy Meals make children happy and not unhealthy. It's literally the same as accepting Pfizer's safe and effective claims. Seriously, it's the same thing. And do you remember when sugar was the problem, right? So companies automatically made substitutes, and they made like alternative ingredients, and all of those came with unintended consequences that they're still being denied. They're still sweeping them under the rug. MSG, low-fat products, all of those are hidden with different components of sugars and artificial sweeteners. And that's what's having the impact on your brain. And that's what's addicting. So if navigating the minefield is challenging, well, you're in it. Like, everyone's challenged with it. And big pharma, big agriculture, they're doing it on purpose. And they're offering like off-the-shelf solutions but those solutions are leading you astray. So remember also, like, plant-based burgers, plant-based alternatives, things that are low fat or sugar substitutes. They all have the same problems. They're all seriously manipulating and changing your brain chemistry, just like cocaine, just like crystal meth. This industry is truly, truly focused on sales rather than your health. And I believe in the coming years, in the coming decades, I truly believe that obesity is going to be looked just like how we used to laugh at the cigarette companies, right? Remember how the cigarette companies used to say, oh, you know, it's healthy, doctor recommended, all that stuff. Now we look at complete disdain and skepticism from those cigarette companies. We will be looking exactly the same at obesity and all of those laughable claims that these food companies have been making, because the truth is going to come out. Honestly, the truth is going to come out, and it's coming out now. People are starting to wake up. At the same time, it's very difficult for others to truly understand the ramifications of the foods that they're eating and what they're buying. But we really need to take a step back and begin to critically assess and have ongoing dialogue and help people and remind people that today's big agriculture, big pharma, big corporate, like all of these companies like PG, Kellogg's, all of those companies like McDonald's, they are literally today's or yesterday's cigarette manufacturers, just pushing the agenda of cigarettes are safe, you know, doctor recommended and all that stuff. So I just wanted to hop on and just have like a dialogue today, because I think that people are waking up. Some people are figuring it out. Some people need to be woken up. But if you remember how atrocious those cigarette companies were and those advertisements, and if you can laugh now, you've got to look at the food companies exactly the same, because they are peddling absolute bogus science, and they're paying under the table doctors and politicians, stores, you name it, influencers, to just peddle their inferior products that are literally laden with food chemicals that are highly, highly addictive, just like nicotine, just like cocaine, just like crystal meth. And that is why we are living in a society with obesity and so much sickness, because people aren't smoking as much, but they're still eating the foods ridden with so much of those chemicals. So something to consider. Gut Whisperer out.